No Church Church. Today I want to talk about Dana Coverstone's dreams, and specifically about his dreams, how to invest and make money on them. So like we did before with Kim Clement and others, we've taken their prophetic dreams and figured out what investment strategy would best match that prophecy. So today specifically, I want to talk about Dana, where he's wearing the black shirt and the red shirt, and we're going to talk about banks and money, what he saw in his dreams, and then what's kind of going on current state, and then also what you could do to invest to help you if these things happen. We are not declaring that these things are going to happen. We're just saying the possibility of them happening and how it might help you to invest against these things. Some of the things that have happened have given testimony to Dana's prophecies or dreams that they will come true. So like this one, he said there'll be cobwebs in classrooms and they'd be vacant. And then here we get an article, September 10th, after a lot of schools have already opened. September 10th says LA County schools won't reopen till after the election, meaning they're going to start getting some cobwebs. Next is where Dana said he saw more riot situations in Washington like other states around the country. This was not on my radar, but now that the Supreme Court justice has passed away and the Republicans are pushing, trying to get somebody in her place, now what are people saying? Angry left are threatening violence if they put somebody in her place quicker than the election. So when are they talking about doing that? They're talking about doing that the second and third and fourth week of October. Remember when Dana talked about taking the finger across the second and third week of October, which kind of seems this is the indication of why there would be riots, because it's the exact same time frame. That seems like a testimony. Next is where he said that he saw a federal Treasury Department guy stand up in front of the camera and wink. Now, Federal Powell just announced Thursday that they were going to change the inflation targeting and allow inflation to run higher than the 2% standard before hiking interest rates. So he sat in front of the camera and winked and said, hey, we're changing policy here. What was once a standard is no longer the standard, and we don't know what's going to happen based off of that standard. We know what happened last time they changed the standard of gold. Now he's changing the standard again. Is this going to cause severe inflation, like what Dana said in his dream, hyperinflation? Next is all-time record for northern atmosphere experiencing record lows all the way down to a negative 93 degrees. Also, record temperature in rare September snow arrival in the Rocky Mountains. September 6, 2020 shows that winter came early this year, kind of indicating that thing where he talked about seeing people in their houses with jackets on. A point towards, hey, winter's coming. All of these things give Dana some credence on what he saw and what possibly will live through. I'm not saying everybody's going to live through the situations, all the situations that he's talking about, but I am saying there's ways to prepare, right? So a lot of people are saying, well, buy food, buy water, do this, do that. I'm saying, what about preparing your money? What things can you do that would help you through this bad economy to make money? This is so biblical, right? Jesus always talked about what was going to happen in the future. So many times we read Bible stories about what was going to happen before it happened. So like what happened with Moses. God came, he talked to Moses. He said, this is what's going to happen. You're going to lead my people out. He talks him through the whole scenario. And then he says, go and tell the leaders, the Jewish leaders in Egypt, what I want to do, how I'm going to do it, and then they'll tell all of the people so that everybody is on the game plan of what God was going to do. Now, here's the thing about that whole situation is God did not have the Israelites out of the plagues. They lived with the lice, with the frogs, with the thunder, with the lightning. They lived with all of the plagues besides the plague of death. That was the only one that they had the blood, the atonement on their doorpost that they did not physically have to live in or be a part of. There was an atonement there. And so my thing is yes, we could go through food shortage. Yes, we could go through gas shortage. Yes, we could go through a downturn. Yes, we could go through all of these things. But just because we're in them doesn't mean that we have to have a part of what's going on in our life. Dana nor I are saying absolutely this is going to happen. It's just a thought. And so with these thoughts are opportunities on how to protect or how to do something different. So if you want to know something about us, you can go to TikTok. We are at Stock Charts on TikTok. That is the @ symbol. Stock charts. We've done videos on commodities and what happens in crisis. We've done videos on inflation and what happens. We've done videos on stagflation, when unemployment goes really low and inflation prices comes at the same time. We talked about in an election year how the market pulls back on average 16% starting in September. Here we talked about where's the best place to put your money, gold or other places. And on and on and on, we have tons of videos about how to think about trading and the possibilities because of news. We also have a YouTube page, Stock Charts Trading, and we have lots of video content on there, like best trading strategy for 2020. The dollar is doomed, or we have currency wars. So this isn't our first rodeo on making a video about investing based on news or things that we're seeing. So here's just a couple things that Dana said. He saw October 31st, a finger being held on it. He saw that the dollar bill was like a flag on the flagpole being lowered. He saw that a quarter of that dollar bill was being burnt, and it burnt all the way to about a third left, meaning 2/3 of the dollar bill was evaporated. He heard somebody playing taps in the background. When he was wearing his red shirt, he talked about November being punched. And in that video, he talked about the bank's roof being ripped off like aliens and wealth being taken from the banks into a vacuum cleaner. And he talked about no change. He talked about hyperinflation. He talked about how ones and fives would follow, getting this information from the CEO of the bank. He also talked about November 3rd being circled, and he said that the official Fed chairman would get up and wink, and he said that it would take time to rebuild. All of these things in the dream did not sound good, but what I'm about to show you in all these articles kind of proves that point. So here we are on August 3rd, 2020. Banks say they are tightening lending standards. Why would a bank tighten their lending standards if they did not see a problem with the economy? If they did not see a problem, because it's their business to loan money. That's how they make money, is through loans. And so why were they stopping their business technically? They're stopping from new money coming into their business. That doesn't sound right, because there's some problems happening. Mortgage forbearance is happening where people don't have to move out of their place and they don't have to make the payment. Well, who's making the payment? The banks. Don't they have to pay the government for the money that they borrow? So aren't they kind of getting behind on what they need to give back also? Unemployment on the rise. July 24. Oh, that was too long ago for you. But how about September 2nd? Ford lays off 1,400 people. How about this? You might have a tough time getting a jumbo mortgage over $540,000. They're not doing them. Even a bigger problem, word on the street, construction lending has slowed. September 5th, basically, I know right now 10 projects that can't get the funding. If they can't get the funding, then doesn't that mean less people working? How about this? FHA has changed the rules for self-employed borrowers August 17th, making it harder if you're self-employed to get that loan, because maybe you get COVID for 2 weeks and you can't work, and now all of a sudden you can't make your payment. They see it as a risk factor, which means basically you can't get that money, you can't get that house. So the question is, why did Powell change how they use their policies? And what change does he want to have happen from it? So now if we read these articles on what's the intention going on that maybe we don't even know about, is that here that the intention of giving the CARES Act stimulus package out would go through digital dollars. And what are those digital dollars? They are central banking digital dollars. To me, the central bank and the banks are at war about who's going to start distributing money. And why should this be a concern? Because every dollar that they print, it steals money from you. It's actually another tax on your money. You're not only paying 30, 40, 50% on your money with everything that you're buying, adding it all up, you're losing the value of your money. Every time they print another dollar, it makes your money money worthless. And there's even a problem with spending like this, $3 trillion. Many states have been hit hard, and suddenly their spending needs and is being curbed by this coronavirus. $3 trillion, that's a lot of money, but what is it going to? These 4 states that are getting ready to go bankrupt. What are the 4 states? California, Illinois, New York, and Michigan, all states that have tried to keep their doors closed on their citizens. So the question is, why? If you keep your doors closed on your citizens, they don't make money. Unemployment goes up. You don't make tax money on unemployed people. You don't make tax money on people who don't make money in their businesses. You don't make money unless people are working. So the question is, why are they trying to heighten their problem financially? Is it because then they can just say, well, coronavirus bankrupt us, not our policies for the last 20, 30 years, which is making you, again, the victim of what they're doing so that they can make a cover up. Warren Buffett for years has said he dislikes gold, but he sees these situations arising and he's taking a $560 million stake in gold, which is a lot, but Warren Buffett has $130 billion in cash. Why? Because you don't make money when you're in cash. So it's weird. He never wanted to invest in gold. Now he's investing in gold. And as an investor, you put your cash to work, but here he's sitting on boatloads of cash. Another thing, Warren Buffett has sold $7.8 billion in his banking stocks. You don't sell $3.47 billion of JP Morgan unless you see a problem. So here's the inverse, FAZ, of banks. As banks go down, FAZ goes up. And it doesn't just go up 1-to-1 of what banks go down. This is an ETF, it's an inverse, and it goes up 3 times what the bank stocks do. So let me give you a quick lesson on trading. Market comes up into old highs, which is a resistance. Once it hits that resistance, it starts to sell off. This here tells us price no longer went up because people wanted to sell it there. We have that confirmation here. Price no longer went higher because people wanted to sell it at the same level. So when I talk to you about buying it here at $16, you're going to have to make sure you sell it here at $75, which is over 400% profit. Next is AGQ, a quick lesson on trading. You have lows and highs. So if we take from these lows all the way up to these highs and we duplicate that range box, placing that range box at these highs and letting it come upward, that gives us a target, which is around $130 on AGQ, which is a silver ETF. So from right now, price is at around $141. If it goes up to $130, that gives it a 200% profit. Like Warren Buffett buying gold, this move shows you where to enter, where to exit, and it should move like gold. Okay, here we are on UVXY, and this is a volatility ETF. And so volatility means when people are scared and problems are happening, it goes up. So think about the market went down in March. Why did it go down? Because there was a lot of volatility and people were nervous about what's going on with coronavirus. And this went up, not a little bit, but over 1,100%. And if you're new to stocks, that is a lot of money. But as you can see, we are a little lower than where we are right now. Right now, we're at around $21. So if we went back to these old highs from right now at $21, that would take us to around $130, which is a 530% increase. So remember, resistance right here, price came up, hit that resistance line, then fell off. Right here, price came up, hit that resistance line, and then fell off. So I would expect if UVXY goes back up to these highs at around $130, sell quickly because it's going to fall back off. Okay, last trade to help you if the economy goes bad, especially the dollar and the banks. UDN is an inverse of the dollar. So as the dollar goes down in value, UDN will go up in value. And so right here is our highest highs. And if the dollar loses 2/3, which is a lot of money, then this should really have no problem going back up to this $30 level. So from $20 to $30, that gives us about a 50% increase. If you don't feel totally confident about everything we said today, remember to visit our YouTube page, Stock Charts Trading. Maybe that will have deeper information for you to understand exactly what we're talking about. Or at Stock Charts TikTok. Subscribe and do all that great stuff to stay connected, because we're going to do more videos like this to help your investment through bad times.